Hey, vinyl community, Jeff back again. Time to show a couple new releases. Actually, I'm going to show one. Show one today. I'm going to keep this short. And when I say new releases, these are new things that I received. They're actually, I'm going to give a little history here too. The release itself is just a reissue. So, and we're talking about a band that you may not even be familiar with, even though you may have heard me mention them before. Scandroid. Scandroid. This is the first Scandroid album reissued, the definitive edition, or the, I don't know what you want to call it. I forget what they call it. I think they call it definitive edition because it has had a vinyl reissue. This is Scandroid's first album, 2016. It was issued on vinyl, and over the past couple years. But this one is a 3-album set. It's got 13 bonus tracks. If you're not familiar with Scandroid, it is the brainchild of Clayton, who is also the man behind a couple other bands. Now, this is more of the, it's called synthwave, synth pop type stuff. Very electronic sounding. I always describe it, he's got 3 bands, which I'm going to show briefly, and this is the poppier side. And then you got another band, which I'll talk about, which is a little more electronic, energetic rave type stuff, and then you got a band that's just all out industrial metal type stuff. But anyway, this I didn't get the previous issues, and this came out the other day, and it's on 3 records, and it's hard to get out because it's a big gatefold. I mean, it's like I got it crammed into a thing here, and it took a long time to get in. So I'm not going to open it up and show you the inside of the gatefold. You could go online and see it's got 3 different records: orange, cyan, and pink. Kind of goes along with the whole look. It's got a book in here that's just got the lyrics and some other artwork. Very cool album. Scandroid. Now, you may have seen me mention them before because I did show this one, which came in a couple months ago, and this is The Darkness and the Light. So Scandroid, 2016, the first album. 2017, I believe, Monochrome was like the next one. It gets kind of confusing because there's a bunch of remix albums in here because they release this tracks to the remix world, and then people remix the songs, and that's where the 13 extra tracks came from. They were remixed by other organizations and or bands, and then resubmitted over to Clayton, who in turn, he's had contests and stuff, and then he puts them on here. So a couple of them have appeared on previous albums, but this one's got a whole 3rd album, so it's 13 total remixes, which totally sound different. So you got that. So 2016 he releases that. In 2017, I believe it was, Monochrome came out, and like I said, there was a remix album in that same time frame. 2018 he released an album called The Light, and in 2019 he released an album called The Darkness, and then in 2020 he released The Darkness and The Light. Put them both together, one double album set. You see that there's a lot of consistency here with the artwork and stuff. It's got the main character guy there, so, which kind of looks like him. If you saw Clayton pictures of him, kind of resembles him. It's got a book. This one is on split, black and white, for Darkness and Light. Get it? So yeah, I guess we're looking now at this point to hopefully see Monochrome come out, and I believe, I don't know if they'll release the other albums or if they'll put those remixes on the release. Actually, yeah, I don't know. So that would be that. But then, so as I mentioned, the other band, Cell Dweller, this one I showed not too long ago because this is the most recent Cell Dweller album, 2022. There's Clayton. So you can see kind of the character resemblance. I think, yeah, definitely. I think it's supposed to be him. This is a little more electronic, heavy on instruments and drums and guitars and all that, but definitely more of a dance, not quite as poppy, but dance, rave type feel, that kind of thing. At times pretty heavy. At times this album has some pretty heavy moments, but when he really wants to get heavy, then he goes back to the Circle of Dust. This is the most recent vinyl reissue. This is not the most recent Circle of Dust. So Circle of Dust was a band he did in the 90s. He did like 1, 2, 3, 4, drawing a blank. Albums, very heavy metal, industrial type metal. And then he stopped. And then in the early 2000s, he pops up with Cell Dweller. 2003, I think, was the first album. So, 10 years later, he moves on to Cell Dweller, totally different thing. And he did that for until 2016, and then he pops up with Scandroid as a third band. And now he does all three. Then he came back in the past couple years and released a new Circle of Dust album, which I hope gets put on vinyl at some point. And there's been a remix of the entire album of that too. So there's lots and lots of tracks. This is was actually a side project brainchild that later became Circle of Dust flat out. It used to be labeled brainchild. I showed that in a video when I showed this not too long ago, but it's still along the same lines as Circle of Dust. And so, yeah, and now you'll find stuff on the Scandroid album where it'll be like Scandroid featuring Circle of Dust, or Circle of Dust featuring Scandroid. So he merges the different feels together at times as if it's two totally separate entities, which it sort of kind of is, even though it's all him. But yeah, so there you go. Just in case you didn't know, it's out. It just dropped. If you're interested in synth, pop, synth wave, whatever they call that, I call it the lighter, poppier side of the Clayton world. It's just a little more on that lighter side. Then this is something you would like to check out. Scandroid, lots of videos out there. Check it out. Came with a sticker from his label, Fixed, F-I-X-T. So go to the site, fixt.com, I believe. And you can pick this up because it just dropped. And that's it for this one. Just a little history of Scandroid and a showing of the new album. And I will see you later. Rock on and rock hard.